you need to set boundaries for yourself and a routine that works. And that's going to look different for everybody at different stages in your life.
Welcome to Working Women Mentor, a podcast where you will find a mentor moment in every episode. We are meeting incredible women from around the world with real stories and learning from the moment that changed it all for them. I'm your host, Rainey Alfers, and I'm ready to introduce you to our next guest.
Hey everyone, welcome to Working Women Mentor. I'm your host, Rainey Alfers, and today's episode, we are meeting Ashley Cline, the VP and co-founder of Ice Cream Social. She is a digital marketing expert and really redefining what digital marketing means, how to do it, and make it social. And that's the most interesting thing about this conversation today is I thought I knew digital marketing until I met Ashley. Additionally, I love her approach to work, to life, to finding her passion, and all her mentor tips today really helps you reflect, sit back, think about maybe your business a little bit differently. Think about how you support other businesses differently with your social actions. I mean, being online, all the channels that we're communicating on. But the mentorship is why we're here today. And those nuggets, those pieces of calmness are something you're going to find in this episode. So let's jump in and meet Ashley. So, Ashley Cline, it's so great to meet you. Thank you for joining us on Working Women Mentor.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be on a podcast that, primarily I'm assuming all the listeners are women out there. So
I'm sure we have a few men that stop by every now and then. Workplace mentorship, we're kind of talking about it all. So it's a lot of fun. Would you please introduce yourself to our audience? I think it's always better coming from you.
yeah, my name's Ashley and I live in Huntington Beach, California with my fiance, two kids. Been doing digital marketing for about 17, 18 years now.
Okay, so digital marketing, we have to talk about this first, if you don't mind, because you mentioned you've been in this for 17 years and it's wildly changed, I'm sure. And so the evolution of that. But what does really digital marketing mean? Because I feel like some people think it's just social media. What is it?
Sure. So to me, digital marketing is really my adult video game. And, what I mean by that is you're piecing together all these different strategies and tactics to essentially reach your end goal. And me growing up, loved playing video games. And when choosing a career, I found that this felt so much like a video game. You'll do a marketing campaign, you'll have an end goal of how many sales you need or how many sign up. And then you have to think of all the different tactics out there. You've got your social media, you've got your SMS, you've got email marketing, search engine optimization, review and referral strategies, influencers, all of it. And how do you find the ones that pair nicely together and help you reach your end goal in the most cost effective way possible?
Well, I think that's very simply put. And so that can speak to many different areas, like you said, of marketing outside of print.
Yeah. And I mean, there's some crossover here and there. A lot of times now we're taking print marketing, like a lot of our clients will do billboards or, maybe flyers, direct mail, but there's a digital marketing component to it, whether they're scanning a QR code or the objective is to get them to go to a certain landing page. It's all one now.
It is all one. That's a great way to put that. It's sort of you're tracking that digital exposure and getting that end result. So, okay, that's so good to know as we start because you're the expert on this. And I know you have lots of information to share with us, but reflecting on sort of that 17 years, like we mentioned, you've had a lot of professional lessons, I'm sure, as you pivoted through this type of industry. What really speaks to someone right now who's in that digital marketing world, Ashley?
So I would say, even at a bigger level, no matter what industry you're in, the one thing that has been most beneficial in my career, and this is going to sound so strange, but being very clear on your core desired feeling. And I learned this philosophy from a book called The Desire Map by Danielle LaPorte. And what she does is she takes you through a series of many questions and exercises. It's kind of workbook format, could take you several days to get through. But essentially, you get to the end of this workbook activities and you've determined your top 3 to 5 ways that you want to feel in your life day to day. Of course, you're not always going to feel these every single day, but they're kind of like guiding factors and helping you choose and make tough decisions on maybe what clients you take on or what a promotion sounds great, but do you really want that promotion? The money's great, but is that a role that you want to step into? And I've used these to really help navigate my career and have built my life around them. So every few years, I retake this book, go through the workbook again every few years and kind of see because we evolve as people. Life changes, you reach goals, you don't reach goals, and things shift. And so all the times I've taken it, there's one word for me that has always remained. Like I cannot get rid of this word. It just resonates so deeply to my core. And that word for me was freedom. And when I first started my career, it was all about financial freedom. Like, yeah, I just wanted to make money. I was super excited. Love the idea of a career because there's not like a ceiling on how much income you can make.
That's a beautiful thing, isn't it? When you find that world,
Yeah, I dream big.
you should.
So when I first started, it was all about financial freedom. And as I grew, evolved as a person, reached certain goals, I realized that, yeah, of course, the finances are important to me, but it really evolved into being time freedom because I got caught in the rut of working around the clock while taking care of kids and just over scheduling myself. And once I learned how to manage that and change my lifestyle to fit that time freedom, now I'm learning that that freedom word still resonates for me, but it's really opportunity freedom. Having the time and financial freedom in a sense to be able to say, you know what? I do want to work on that project, or I want to focus on this hobby that I have, or I definitely don't want to work on that project. Like being able to say no to things or yes, and still feeling like I am supporting my own boundaries of time.
So you're differentiating between the money, essentially. First, want to earn money, and then freedom to do it anytime, anywhere, anything I want. And then now it sounds like you're transitioning a little bit to understanding more specifically of what you want to do with that time. Is that how I'm hearing that?
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, and I think it's a great advice for any career of someone listening. And this book, I'm not familiar with it, but I will be because it sounds wonderful. You're right, life changes. We're looking at life differently as we progress, and it's an interesting pulse check that you're doing each year. Yeah, yeah, I think that's a great thing. So you've taken these desires and you blend them into your daily life. You've got several companies and you're working on a lot of things. You have a full home life, but right now will you tell us about Ice Cream Social? Because I love the name. I mean, the name says it all, but it doesn't. So would you take us behind the scenes between what you're working on right now?
So, Ice Cream Social is a company that I co founded that was born from a need of something in the industry, in the event ticketing industry. And we can talk more about that later. But essentially, what it is it's a referral widget. So, it's taking that word of mouth marketing, just like we talked about more with print marketing, and we're taking that and making it digital. So, facilitating a way for people to easily share with friends and family what they just purchased, specifically as it relates to tickets to a show or a festival or a sporting event and being able to invite their friends. But as I mentioned, I love video games. So we also put a gamifying element to it. So if they get a certain amount of friends to buy, let's say if they get 3 friends to make a purchase, then, maybe we'll refund their ticket or send them a gift card or free merchandise, whatever the case may be. It varies client to client. And the name Ice Cream Social essentially came from the idea that back in the day, before we had this internet, people would exchange these referrals, what they love at neighborhood block parties where they'd have little ice cream socials or Tupperware parties or Avon parties, little get-togethers that we would do back in the day. Not me,
Especially
because
the
I'm not.
ladies. Yeah, I know that you've heard of. Exactly.
Yeah, so that's essentially where we came up with the name Ice Cream Social. Has nothing to do with ice cream, but it's fun.
But it still has something to do with getting together. Okay, so interesting. So I have like, for instance, a skincare company, but it wouldn't work to the product, right? It's only going to work if you're going to book an event. And or do you work in conjunction with Eventbrite and Ticketmaster and some of these folks to where when they purchase the tickets from wherever, then they're able to share that through your link or app?
Sure. So essentially, Ice Cream Social can be bolted on to any website or checkout flow. So we do integrate very easily to a lot of WordPress, Shopify. So we do actually work with a lot of traditional retail e-commerce sites.
Okay.
And you focus a lot on events, entertainment, travel, tourism, and we do integrate with different systems. We just haven't quite gone down that road yet of integrating with it. So some of our clients have some of their own e-commerce technology and we can integrate into that. So essentially anywhere there's a checkout flow, we can integrate Ice Cream Social pretty easily.
And I think that's nice because, I mean, you buy a ticket to something, generally it's pretty social. There are a lot of people there. And to share that and to invite other friends is a fun way to spread the word. But also, just from a product basis, I'm thinking in my own scenario of like, hey, we love referrals. We usually give a referral incentive or link or rewards program. And so this sounds like one additional way to link that back, right? To the company and the friends and consumer. So you said there was a need for this type of business. It's sort of a gap in the industry. We're all working on things during the day, and we do sometimes stumble across the how are we going to do X? Because there's nothing out there that does that. I mean, is that what your journey was like when you were co-founding this company? I'm curious.
Yeah. So as far as a gap in the industry, I primarily work in the events and entertainment industry on the ticketing sector, helping clients with their marketing strategies. And this was really born from the need of our clients needing more ways to sell more tickets to their events. So I saw Ice Cream Social as a great optimizing tool because it's not a marketing strategy in any way that can stand alone by itself. All about optimization. I love the little tweaks and things you can do to see better result. And so it really plays a great supportive role to all your other marketing platforms. And what I mean by that is inadvertently, Ice Cream Social, of course, does increase brand awareness, but it also helps you facilitate more email and SMS opt-ins, brings more traffic to your website, which for now, you can leverage the use of a pixel and remarket too. And so essentially, it's that idea of all boats rise with the tide philosophy. So in testing, I found our clients that once they have implemented Ice Cream Social into their marketing arsenal, we saw a decrease in the cost per acquisition across all their marketing channels. So that meant the cost to acquire a customer through a Facebook ad, the cost to acquire a customer through SMS, the cost to acquire a customer through an email campaign. All of those costs went down, which is what we want, so we can get the most bang out of our buck. And so by implementing Ice Cream Social, we saw all marketing channels decrease that cost per acquisition. So plus the additional revenue being brought in directly through Ice Social.
So if someone is listening that has an idea like this, not your idea, but and coming from it from the same perspective as an add-on, an additional touch point, just something else, what is some advice that you'd give them in terms of trying to conceptualize that and bringing it to market, essentially? It's not as easy as an Ice Cream Social sound.
I mean, what we did when, conceptualizing this idea, we asked ourselves, how can we better help our client? Because the better our clients do, the better our business does. And clients being, in the ticketing event industry. And specifically, we asked, how can we help how can we help our clients increase their ticketing sales without increasing their marketing budgets? So all we did was see there was a problem, focus on it, and think of creative ways that we could solve it. And, honestly, that can create the best products sometimes if you're focusing on what a problem is and trying to solve with that.
That's right. What does that customer need? What does that client of yours need? And what is their problem? And how do we solve it? And it's actually pretty simple, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It's time for a quick sponsored ad from EMK Skincare. It's my skincare secret I swear by and love it so much, I bought the company. EMK was founded over 30 years ago in Beverly Hills and is crafted from science-backed research of human placenta and the bioidentical properties to placenta found in nature. high-potency, plant-powered formulas with clinically proven ingredients. Anti-aging is just not realistic, but healthy aging skin is. And it's why this brand is loved by dermatologists, plastic surgeons, estheticians for its healing ingredients and reduced downtime after procedures. It's my secret to glowing skin, even on my busiest days, my travel days, and my longest work days. Visit emkskincare.com to sign up for emails and receive 15% off your first purchase. Now back to the episode.
You have some, really large clients, but I know with your companies that you have, working with the major brands and you've had to develop these relationships and reach out. What has that been like? And what advice can you give us on establishing these partnerships in our workplace and in our own companies if we have them?
Sure. If you want to know what some of the clients I work with, you can website ashleycline.com and see some of the portfolio clients I work with. But really, I've always focused on just doing my best work, doing honest work, and value relationships over everything else. If something's not working and I don't think I can help them any further, I will be so transparent and say, I really thought I could help you. I cannot. I'm so sorry. I have to let you go, or I understand you have to let me go, and just always being open and transparent. And then to the opposite side of that, because that also doesn't happen all the time. Most of the time, things are good.
You hope everyone you're working with is honest and truthful and understanding of really truly the outcome.
Always going to have projects that just do not work out like you envision. So being honest and open and doing what you can to make that right. Well, rather than letting it linger and everyone getting upset and then you finding reasons to blame them of why it's not working or vice versa. So there's that, which again doesn't happen as often, but something important to keep in mind. It's also doing good work. So I'm always asking, how can we make this better? What can we do to optimize? I'm always bringing my clients, hey, so I've never done this before, but I think we can make this work. So always coming to them with new ideas, whether they're like, no, but they know when they have ideas, they can bounce them off me too. And we've really collaborated and been able to come up with some great campaigns.
And that's where the magic happens, I think. There's trust built with these relationships, right? And this is with anything. And you are so authentically focused on a result that if you've got some crazy idea, that if you feel welcome to share that with them, I love that too. Look at everything the same way. We can do this better. I don't know how yet, but we will figure it out. And when everyone starts thinking that way, I think the momentum of that grows and they're like, oh, wait, no, we can't do that, but we can do this. It starts getting everyone talking.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a good place to be in partnerships, isn't it? Or in business or life, anywhere.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think back to my core desired feeling of freedom too. Granted, it took me quite a while to get to this point, but even early on in my careers, like I'm still working with the people that I started working with 17 years ago. And I really have had that mindset of the people that I work with because I love to work. I love my career. So the people I'm working with, I want them to be my best friends.
Yeah.
Also, who I align myself, my partners, my employers, my clients based on, hey, is this someone I want to go hang out with on a Friday night?
Well, I mean, the amount of time you spend with these people, and you say hang out with on Friday night, like my saying is, I don't want to have dinner with them. Mine's dinner. Like I want to, if I can't eat with you, I don't like you. It's just, I don't want to spend more time and have that partnership or relationship. That's so funny. We all have our different little threshold, right? I had a friend recently say, she goes, if I don't want to buy you a coffee, then that means I don't know if we're just a good fit. I was like, buy me a coffee. I was like, what about a Coke? Or she's like, nope, it has to be a coffee. It's just so funny. Just even if they don't
Yeah.
drink coffee, she goes, I want to give them something that I love and that I enjoy every day. And it was the cutest thing. But it was like her measurement of how she feels about someone and spending time. And so you worked, obviously, you love the people you're with, but you've been solo in some instances, I'm sure, on your own. And now you have team around you in different partnerships. So, what is that like for you going from only you to then bridging it to your team at work?
Yes. So I like to say that I like to wear this preneur hat, and that is solopreneur, working independently, entrepreneur, working with other people. an intrapreneur, being a leader with an entrepreneur mindset within a company. And I really like covering all those roles at one time. One, when you're doing it within a company, being able to see the impact that you make is really rewarding. And that's just an impact you would not be able to make necessarily as an entrepreneur and entrepreneur. And there's a lot of intricacies and red tape and, all kinds of things. And I find it really fun. And then that entrepreneurial spirit, having a product like Ice Cream Social, a team of people all making it work together. And then I always like to have a little solo project going, whatever that might be, my blogging or building my affiliate income. Like for me, that's where I get to tinker and play and learn what ideas I want to bring to life or what ideas I want to bring into the company that I work for or another company that I'm helping build, whatever the case may be. That solopreneur is more of like my playtime. And there has been times it's not always perfect. It's not like I work 33% doing each one.
Some days it's just only solopreneur, right?
There were many times in my career, many years where I was just a solopreneur or entrepreneur and then became also that entrepreneur role when I had that opportunity freedom and it was like the perfect role, the perfect scenario where I knew I could make an impact, keep doing what I love and work with people that I love and still have independence to work on some passion projects and all of that.
And that's a great way for our listeners to sort of identify how we think of even where we're spending our time or how we're applying our time in a day. It's the same as, hey, I'm also a mom or I'm also a friend, or we have these different roles, and it's how you're applying your mindset to the role.
And I think a lot of people think it has to be one or the other, or they're like, oh, I've got this job and I've got a side hustle and I'm going to build my side hustle and quit my job. But maybe they don't really want to do that, but they think that's the next steps because that's what you hear everyone do. Like there might be a world where you can do both and it's a matter of mindset. And also for me, it's helped to always be transparent and just say, yo, this is how I want to live my life. Do you want to work with me or not? And promise I'll do good work. Oh, and we go from there.
Ashley, I feel like you're just so like what you see is what you get. There is nothing else. I love that transparency. I mean, we mentioned the freelance piece. I mean, as sort of that whole great resignation that we've gone through, which I believe is over, if I'm, up to date, is from what I hear. But, we're always in pursuit of our passion, hopefully, or able to do that. So, but there was that period of time where it was at great heights and great numbers that this was happening. So, for folks who maybe have made that change from working with a company to now freelance, is there any thoughts or advice you could give to them?
Yeah. I got a couple pieces of advice that worked really well for me. One, as a freelancer, I've aligned myself with different marketing agencies. You can find your own partners depending what industry you're in. But for me, it was marketing agencies. And let them know I'm available for these types of projects. As you get new clients that come in and you need extra hands, I'm here. Agencies love that because, they do get new clients, they do get new projects, and it's hard to foresee how much staff you need at all time. And so for them to have consultants that they can tap on an as needed basis, it's really great for them. Plus they're bringing in experts. It just works out really well. So by partnering with different agencies, one, that kept me way more busy than I ever imagined because agencies just have endless work. And number two, agencies have big clients with big budgets or even small budgets. But at the end of the day, they've already done the sales. That way you get to stay focused on what you love to do and you're not spending 80% of your time doing sales, which is something probably nobody tells you about being a freelancer. You also have to learn to become a salesperson.
Yep, you have to generate your own lead at that point.
Exactly. So by working with agencies, that got rid of that and I could focus on really building my skills of what I love to do. And by doing that, that helped me build a portfolio and case studies and experience beyond anything I could have done by myself. And that allows me to use that and, find new projects or get clients of my own. If I want one of my own, I can say, well, I did this, this, and this. So with these companies, like there's so much great benefit to that. And I'd say in the flexibility realm of things, this took me a while because it can be overwhelming as your business grows and you want to say yes to everything, but you do and you can, but you need to set boundaries for yourself and a routine that works. And that's going to look different for everybody at different stages in your life, which is one thing I had to learn. Like a routine that I had that I thought was so awesome. Like I love to work super late at night till 2 in the morning. I reached a point in my life where that no longer happen. I'm an 8:30 p.m. in bed kind of person now, up at 4:30. So you got to be flexible with yourself and give yourself that grace to change as life changes, but having your non-negotiables. For me, I need to get a workout in. I need time to meditate. I want to read a book for a little bit. And I want to enjoy my coffee. I don't want to rush through. Like, you need to build your own rituals that make you happy every day, whatever that looks like. If that is like 10 minutes of dedicated playtime with your cat or whatever, figure out your top 3 rituals. If it's, jade rolling your face, I don't care. Whatever brings you joy and feels like a ritual, helps ground you and feel like you're still putting yourself first and kind of squeezing work into that.
You're providing that framework for us, right? You're saying, hey, start with all of these things, plug in here, and then it all makes sense. Just absolutely great advice. And I think as we start, as we're all working and wanting to improve our skills, you've had to, I'm sure, learn many new things over the years and are still learning daily. What practices do you have to keep up with this ever changing field of digital marketing?
Yeah, great question. That one can be tough. I go through peaks and valleys where I'm hyper focused on, education and love getting all the marketing certifications because it's fun to add to your LinkedIn profile. But at the end of the day, after taking all those certifications, classes, you really don't know anything until your hands are in it and you're doing that work. So I would prioritize experience over anything because that's where you're going to get the most education. And a lot of times, especially in marketing, you can teach yourself everything almost through Google. And at least in the agencies I worked with, they love fresh blood with new ideas who are just like excited and willing to roll up their sleeves and figure out how to make something work. So I would value that experience and hustle, not hustle in the sense of working so many hours, but that hustle as in like that desire to solve a problem and figure it out. I'd value that over everything.
It's so interesting because if you don't bring in your fresh ideas or you don't have that hustle and that energy behind whatever you're doing, then it's like, what are you doing? I don't get it. It's like, be you. That's why they hired you, right? Share what you
Right.
know and your ideas. And it's also a great way to stay true to your skills as you build them. Because if we're not growing the existing skills that we have or even recognizing that we have them, then it's hard to grow them. So I completely agree with what you just said. And you are working on many things during the day. You found your structure, but you had to have learned this from somewhere. So you're reading books, you're, pulling life together. And so, has there been one unforgettable experience during your career as you were growing and learning something new, maybe starting your company that you'd like to share with us?
I mean, I have to say, any advice or tips that I've spewed out today have all come from being in a really dark place and having to pull myself out of it.
Learning the hard way, right? Learning life the hard way sometimes.
Yeah. So even if I told you all these things, it may not resonate with you until you're ready for it. But I'm essentially, yeah, I learned all this. I reached a point in my career where I was so overwhelmed, wasn't feeling rewarding, which is not okay. There was like other things going on in life, so hyper focused on my career. So
Up till 2 in the morning.
yeah.
Yeah.
So there was a point where I quit. I quit everything I was working on. I had to shut my computer. I couldn't even open my computer for a few months. And I just had to take time back. I just had to stop. And I thought I never wanted to do marketing again. And I just had to spend time looking within and figuring out what I wanted with my life and redreaming again what I thought was possible for me, given the path that I had built or the trajectory that I was on. Just knowing you can always, every passing second is another chance to change it around. and anything can change and happen so quickly. You just have to hold that belief. So, I mean, during that time, all I did was focus on my mental health and physical health, just meditate, journal, work out.
You rebooted your computer. You're
Yeah, I mean, myself to do the bare minimum and not beat myself up about it.
Now you're inspiring others.
It wasn't marketing. I still love it.
Aw. Sometimes we have to sift through a lot to get to what really the issue is or what really is going on. So with it, we're all thankful that you've sifted through it and still love marketing and are here
Yeah.
doing your thing. So share with us your favorite mentor moment. One of these moments is sometimes the one that you need most today, or it's the one that you needed along the way.
So I align myself with mentors whenever possible, even if they don't know that they're mentoring me. I mean, essentially, in any career that I've chosen, clients that I've worked with, I've chosen them subconsciously as, oh, this person's going to be my mentor. Again, even if I didn't know it at the time and they don't know it, like they still to this day play a big role in my life. And I find it so important. And it's a weird thing because you're like, oh, I have to find a mentor and then call them and ask them if they want to be my mentor. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be that way. If you can find that kind of relationship, great. If, sometimes you gotta be careful what you see on the internet. I'm not saying an influencer should be your mentor, but you're able to pick up things that they're doing that you admired and routines you want to implement in your life. Just take what you need from it and find that mentorship where you can. It could be in a book, it could be on Instagram, whatever the case may be, just being open to that thought of there's mentors all around you in life. And you probably have some right now that you don't even realize are mentoring you subconsciously. And then you got to reevaluate. Is this who I want mentoring me in my life? Do I want to trade places with them?
Do I want to trade places with them? I love that. I absolutely love that. And that kind of puts it back on, is this the person that I want to hear from and listen to and get advice from?
And not in a creepy way of like, I want to be this person and I want to be like, okay, if I had to, like, would I be willing to swap lives with this person? And if the answer is no, then they're not your mentor.
I love how open you are and promoting that because I mean, the whole reason for this podcast is the same thing. It's like these small moments that we have. We meet people, we're sitting at a restaurant or coffee place or, wherever it is, friends in passing professionally. And sometimes there's just that moment where you're like, oh my gosh, I just picked that up from that person. They don't even know it. They might know it. They might have helped me, but it sure is what I need right now. And you've gotten this from books and from reading and from learning, and you are a great example of mentorship. How are you applying it from, that concept within your own company and within your own professional relationship? Are you finding that women and people around you are starting to help each other more, wanting to be collaborative and open feedback and professional mentorship?
Yes. I mean, great question. Because I work in a very kind of male dominant industry. I work with a lot of males within my company, and some of them are mentors that I look up to and value their feedback, opinion. And it wasn't until recently when I have and the agency life is very female dominated, especially in like PR, social media. So in that sense, I've always had female camaraderie. But in the current industry that I'm in with sports and events and that sort of thing, about a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, NBC Comcast invested in Ice Cream Social. And they chose like 10 companies to put us through like an incubator, like accelerator program. And it was really cool because they pair you with mentors who can help you navigate this industry. And they paired me with a lot of female mentors. And just meeting them, I was blown away by the female camaraderie and helping each other navigate this very male dominant area of like sports tech and business. And it was really refreshing to see. And yeah, it was just different than anything that I experienced before.
Yeah, isn't camaraderie everything? It seems to always bring together people and we do better things. Ashley, how can everyone listening today find you and follow you?
Sure, you can check me out at Ashley Cline, CLINE.com, icecreamsocial.io, either one of those. And from there, you can figure out, connect with me the best way that you like to connect.
We will absolutely support you. And Ashley, thank you so much for being a guest today on Working Women Mentor. This has been a lot of fun.
I loved having this conversation. Appreciate it.
Before you go, a huge thank you for being a part of this episode. I hope it left you with a spark of inspiration. And if you haven't already, hit that follow button and subscribe button to stay connected. Now is a great time. Your reviews are the heartbeat of our podcast. So if you enjoyed what you heard today, a review would really mean the world to us. Let's keep this conversation going as well on Instagram at Rainy Alfers. Visit us at rainyalfers.com for all episodes, show notes, and also to express your interest to be a guest. Please sign up. We'd love to hear from you. And until next time, I'll see you back on Working Women Mentor.